Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Horizon Leads YouTube channel. I'm Megan, venue manager here at Horizon, and I've had a couple of weeks off. I've been listening myself in Portugal, not that you could tell. So as promised, today I'm going to speak to you a little bit about getting the right keynote speaker for your event. So here at Horizon, as I'm sure you can imagine, we've seen many keynote speakers. Most of them have been really good, some of them not so. So today, hopefully, I'll give you a little bit of information about how we think you should choose your keynote speaker and key things to think about. So the first one, I know I talk about it all the time, is your aims and objectives. So as soon as you've got your event aims and objectives pinned down, look at my previous video if you're not quite sure, it's a really good time to start thinking about your keynote speaker. If you can do 6 months or more out from your event, if you can start thinking about this, you have got plenty of time to plan, and you also will make sure that you will get a really good pick. The longer you leave it, then the less chance you're going to get the person that you really want. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is actually also about timings. So think about when in the day you want your keynote speaker to be on stage. So is that first thing in the morning when people come in for the event? They get them all pumped, ready for a fantastic day of content. If you have got somebody who you're unlikely to be able to get that much communication with before the event, celebrity for example, it works quite well to have them in the morning, because actually you can give them a quick crib sheet of what your event's about, and they don't need to go into too much detail because they're giving an overview of what the delegates can expect of the day. So that's quite a good one for the morning shift. The second, I would say, shift of the day is what we call the graveyard, and that is after the luxury lunch. So when everybody's feeling a little bit tired, a little bit sleepy, they've probably had a little bit too much lunch and they're ready to sort of switch off. Well, no, this is when it's good to get your keynote speaker in, because they can get them pumped, especially if it's an internal event, if it's a staff event. What I would say about that is the chances are in the morning you do more plenary, and in the afternoon it's more workshop, and maybe you wanting them to present back what they found, or give really good feedback, honest feedback about maybe a strategy that you discussed in the morning. So you need them to be pumped and you want them to be honest. So actually that graveyard shift is really, really good. Gets them pumped, and then in the afternoon you probably get some better content out of the delegates. So that's the second one. And the last one, which is probably one of the most popular, is to do it at the end of the day. So that means that your delegates are going away thinking, wow, what a fantastic event. It's memorable. They will be talking about it with all their colleagues and friends for weeks after the event. So yeah, that's a really good one as well. So they're the main 3 times I would suggest that you could look at having your keynote speaker on stage. So now I've looked at that, the next thing I want to discuss is the type of speaker that you have. So what I would say is you've got 2 kind of clear options, I think. The first one is somebody who is within your industry. So they're in the industry that the event content is about. So they are going to provide knowledge, experience, maybe anecdotal, they could provide stats, new research, and your delegates are going to understand the content and they're going to get something from it. It's going to be educational. So that's the first thing. However, if you've got a day of content like that and you've got lots of speakers, you might want to do something a little bit different with the keynote. If it's all about ROI, making sure that your delegates go away absolutely pumped from your event and they've got their money's worth, their time's been spent in the right place, you might want to look at something a little bit different, which I would say would be a motivational speaker. So again, I know I go back to it, but especially if you're looking at a staff, it's an internal event. And they feel like, oh, we've just got to come to this internal event and all we're going to learn is about the strategy and how does that link with me? I don't really understand how my job links with a wider strategy. Well, this is giving something back to them, because a motivational speaker is something a little bit different. They can, obviously, it's linked to the content that you're providing them with, whether that's through communication or energising the team. but actually it's a little bit more subconscious, so they really feel, the delegate really feels like they're having time to themselves, and it's something a little bit indulgent. It works really well, so some fantastic motivational speakers that we've seen here. Olympians, that's always good. They've had a challenge, they've strived, they've won. They've overcome something. They're also really good. So say, for example, a speaker that's gone through something that would seem impossible to get through, and they've done that, and they talk about how they've done that. And another one that's really key at the moment and really popular is sort of more of your subconscious psychological sort of chimp style speakers. They're really popular at the moment because they get people to think about their subconscious and how that affects their everyday life. And again, that can be in work or out of work. So they're sort of the two areas that I would concentrate on. Now, I don't want you thinking that you have to have a huge budget for this. The last thing that you want to do is pile all your budget into a keynote speaker and have nothing left for anything else, because yes, it might be memorable, but the rest of the event needs to be good as well. So there is a speaker for every budget, I promise. It's just about the more time you've got, speaking to different people, getting recommendations, you will find the right person for you. And don't rush into it. So I would say the big areas to look at are things like TED Talks. Have a look at TED Talks. Look at the past work. YouTube, fantastic. Slide decks, they're really good. So SlideShare and LinkedIn, things like that. Have a look on there, look at their past work. Get them to send some bios across. Like, don't be afraid of that. You're a client, you're paying for that service. So make sure that the speaker works for it, or the speaker's agent works for it. Another thing that you can look at is going to a speaker's lunch. So a lot of speakers brokers will put on lunches where you can hear a number of different speakers. They're quite good as well if you're not sure. But personally, the biggest one I would say is recommendations. So I have a couple, I'm not going to say who, but I have, when I speak to clients, I have a couple of speakers who come up positive, and a couple normally, actually, the ones that I've spoken about the most are, oh, I thought they were going to be fantastic and they weren't, don't use them, and they can come up 6, 7, 8 times. So really, just be honest and look at what other events they've done, maybe even speak to your clients and say, what type of speakers have you had, what have you found worked? And if you've ever got any questions and you're not quite sure, come and speak to us. Like, we see speakers every day, and we're sure we can help you, or at least steer you in the right direction. So that's just a couple of things to think about when you're thinking about your keynote speaker. Don't be afraid, don't rush into it, and don't think you need this ridiculous budget. You can get a really good speaker for the budget that you have got, so don't worry about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If there's anything you think I've not covered, or any questions you've got, please contact us. And remember, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get some little snippets of information every week. And if there's anything in particular you want me to cover, then just give me a shout. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks, bye.